कश्मीर लाइव ड्रीम बिग सीजन 3 के इस शुमारे में आप सब नाजरीन का इस्तकबाल है। आज के इस एपिसोड में हमारे साथ इंटरैक्ट कर रही हैं मिस सीरत मकसूद। ये अपना बैकग्राउंड जनरल बायोटेक्नोलॉजी में रखती हैं। She has done her master's in reproductive biotechnology and is currently pursuing her PhD in cellular and molecular biotechnology at the University of Teramo, Italy. So today we will be conversing with her and हम जानेंगे इनके अब तक के सफर के बाद। सबसे पहले तो सीरत, thank you so much for being available for this session.
Thanks to you for inviting me for this beautiful session. And I am really glad to have this opportunity where I'll be talking about myself and the journey from where I started. And again, thank you very much to Kashmir Life and thanks to you.
So Seerat, first of all, um, you tell us about yourself. Tell us about your academic journey, starting from your bachelor's degree in general biotechnology to your current research.
My name is Seerat Maqsood. I am from Sopur, but I was born and brought up in Bandipora because my dad had, established his business long back in 90s in Bandipora. So I was born and brought up in Bandipora, did my schooling from Bandipora, Iglets Public School. And once I finished my high school, I went to Srinagar for my higher education, which was like 11th and 12th. And I did my plus two from Amira Kadal Higher Secondary Srinagar. Also, side by side, I was doing my tuitions from Parepura. And my subjects were medical because I was always very keen to do research in science, which was like biosciences. And then after completing my plus two, I went to Dehradun for my bachelor degree in biotechnology, which was a course like general biotechnology, where I got an opportunity to work on genetic engineering and stuff like that. So I think that was the gateway for my journey because that's what I always wanted to do. That's what I always wanted to pursue in my career. And after finishing my bachelor degree, dreamt of going abroad for my master degree because I think it was not enough to be there in India and try to explore the research domain because it was very limited and you don't have much opportunities to excel in India. So I decided to apply in Italy and luckily I got it. And I started my master degree in 2019 in reproductive biotechnology, which is an amazing field because you not only do research in the field of reproductive biotechnology, but you also specialize in IVF technologies, which is like the technology by which you can conceive babies, even if you have like, reproductive issues, abnormalities. And that's, I think, one of the best thing that I'm doing is because you are trying to arise a new generation, for the people who are not able to conceive babies. And once I finished my master degree in 2021, I started applying for my PhD because I wanted to get into the research domain like very exclusively. So I think in 2021, I started applying in a lot of places like abroad, not only in Europe, but also like America, Japan, Tokyo. And luckily, I think it was one of the fortunate thing that happened with me because I always wanted to stay in the same place doing my research work because of the very amazing group that I have in my lab because they are the renowned scientists who are working so much, in the field of reproductive sciences. And that's how I got the acceptance from my own university from where I have done my master degree. And currently, I'm working on creating 3D scaffolds for IVF technology. So, which means like if there is any abnormality in the uterus or in the fallopian tube, like if you cannot conceive a baby because of such abnormalities, we are able to create these 3D scaffolds which will give support to the embryos inside the uterus or the fallopian tube, which is amazing and phenomenal at the same time. And side by side, I am also working and doing research on, giving the exposure to these embryos under hypergravity and microgravity because I'm also interested in working with space biosciences. So I think my research work is aligned to the space research as well, but space biosciences domain. Because I think we should also understand the fact that life is not only important on Earth, but also in the space. Because as you see, like in coming years, like human space exploration will be a thing, space tourism will be a thing. So people are supposed to go to the space and they should be fit and healthy. So what I'm trying to do through my research is that I'm trying to work for the advancement of reproductive health and overall fitness of those astronauts or even the people who are trying to go to the space.
So, my question will be like, why did you choose to, specialize in reproductive biotechnology, and what also motivated you to pursue a PhD in this field?
So, as I said, I'm really glad to work on something that gives birth to something. Like when you think of a life, it starts from a single cell, which is the gametes, like the sperm and the oocytes. And once they get fertilized, it gives rise to an embryo, which becomes a life. And I think when you, think of that dynamics or the, pathways that occur at that time when a cell is arising into an embryo. And I think that's one of the most beautiful thing because when you are doing something and which is directly related to life on earth. And I think of my curiosity began when I was maybe 12 or 13 years old, and my father gifted me a book which was titled as Space. And I thought, okay, we have stars, we have planets, and I used to Google a lot because I was Dora the Explorer when I was a child. And I used to explore a lot of things. I used to ask a lot of questions to my teachers, to my friends, to everybody. And I realized that people are only focusing on making spacecrafts, rockets, space stuff like that. But nobody's really talking about the life in space. So what my thought at that time was like, what if I will be able to make clones and I send them to space, and then we'll see if they are alive there, if they're able to survive in the space. And that's the main thing that was in my head. And I think currently my vision has, flourished because I'm exactly doing the same thing that I imagined back then. That was my vision because I wanted to enable human reproduction in space, and combining science field to it and reproductive field to it. I think when you do some kind of research on Earth, you're doing ground-based experiments to see if it will accelerate in the space, to see if it accelerate in microgravity or hypergravity. And I think that was the motivation behind what I'm doing right now. And that's something that I always wanted to do. And I think it's very rare that I have seen in people like what they have visioned when they were young, and they're exactly doing the same thing now. And I'm really happy that I was able to do the same thing that I already visioned when I was a kid. And now I'm doing the same thing. And yeah, that's how it started. And that's why I am here right now.
See that you have been involved in several collaborative projects, such as your membership in NASA's, multi-omics system biology analysis, which was a working group. So, how has this, network contributed to your research progress?
It started in 2022 when I got in contact with a professor from University of Malta, Professor Joseph Ball. He's one of the greatest geneticists, and he introduced me to his lab. He invited me to do my summer traineeship in his lab. And at that time, he was working on human astronaut blood, and I was the first one in his lab who created the first library for this human astronaut blood by single cell analysis. And that was the start of it because he introduced me with this NASA Gene Lab group. And, if you have any ongoing project going on with these collaborations, you're eligible to get into NASA Gene Lab. And that's how I got the membership. And I am currently an active member in NASA Gene Lab. And we are having a lot of projects going on. It's not only about human reproduction, it's about eye diseases, it's about liver disease, it's about diabetes, it's about bone density, muscular disorders that happen when you go to space. And there are a lot of databases that they people are trying to create for other people who are going to reproduce the same research work. And I think that kind of research and network and collaborations is helping me and also other people who are involved in such kind of projects to explore the advancement in the overall fitness and health of astronauts. Because at this point, I think space has been commercializing a lot. Like SpaceX is sending a lot of astronauts to space, a lot of crew to space, and not only in space but also in the ISS, International Space Station. There are scientists who are working. So I think first of all we have to consider the thing that they are already working a lot, and we also need to think that they should be fit while they are working in the space. So we are working for them. We are working for the humanity to be sure that they're happy and healthy and have a fit life even in the space.
So, what I want to know is like, what are your goals after completing your PhD, and like, how do you envision your research? contributing to the advancements in IVF and space biology? And how do you see yourself making a long-term impact in these fields?
Researcher with a company called Spaceborne United. It's a Netherlands-based company. And my contribution towards this company is to do the research work, like, to read the scientific articles, to do the experiments in the lab on embryos under the, effect of microgravity, hypergravity, because there are many papers till now, and the research has been done till now. Like, it's very limited, but yeah, there is something that people have done earlier. And they say, like, in microgravity, usually there is no effect on these embryos. Like, they will grow into blastocyst stage and then, so on. And until blastocyst stage, they have recorded the results, they have the results. But after blastocyst stage, what happens? Nobody knows, because nobody has explored this research, this kind of research work, because there were not experts like who can perform IVF, or who can, keep check on these embryos in the ISS, because they are the normal astronauts who are in the ISS. And I think through this research, I think I want to become an astronaut someday as a bioscientist who will be doing these kind of experiments in the space. And that's my vision. Like, once I finish my PhD, and maybe I'll finish my postdoc, whatever my, future trajectory is. But I see myself as a space bioscientist who will be like conducting these experiments in the ISS, or maybe in the space out of the orbit. And also, like at Spaceborne United, we are also trying to design these different missions where we are doing ground-based experiments. And first, we'll see how these embryos will behave, like on Earth. And for that, we have created a specialized microfluidic disk, which will contain these gametes, and we'll see how automatically, or like, with the help of some processor or maybe software, we will try to analyze if we can do such kind of experiments inside this microfluidic disk, by like automatic pumps, microfluidic pumps, and we'll see if it's working on ground. And then we'll be sending the same microfluidic disk with a, artist incubator. So we have the specialized incubator at Spaceborne United, and which will be containing this microfluidic disk having these gametes inside, and then we'll be sending it to space to see how it works in space. Will microgravity affect these embryos? What will happen, like, after it has reached to the blastocyst stage? What will happen after that? And that's the whole, idea and the vision that we have. And we just want to see, like, how the mechanism and the dynamics of growth and development of this embryo will happen in the space.
Seerat, you have worked too much lately. So how do you manage to, balance your research work across multiple institutions and countries?
I have a very normal life like you, like waking up in the morning, praying, making breakfast, and then going to university. But I think sometimes it's a lot. Like, these days I'm super packed. I'm doing a lot of stuff together, and it's sometimes really like out of my hands. I don't know how to manage. But then I think one of the best thing about me is that I always work under pressure. Like, if I have pressure, I'll work. If not, then I'm like, okay, cool, maybe I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm not someone who will keep the things for later on. But then I think you need that push to
Yeah.
start things and motivation. So I think the normal day for me is like waking up in the morning, going to university, doing my experiments, having meetings with my professor, and then looking for emails. And I have, like, every day I have like two, three meetings that I have to catch up. And sometimes it's from the US or maybe from other country. And so I have to keep track on time. Right now it's like early, early morning here, and it's maybe what, like going to be 12 there, I guess. So it's sometimes a lot, but I think I'm not complaining, because I have signed up for it, and I'm happy what I'm doing, and I don't have any complaints that, even if it's too much, I just love what I'm doing.
Okay. So coming to the end of the session, like, do you have any guidance or thoughts, for people watching?
I would say that it was my father who has always been there, pushed me, because he's just, college pass out, or like he wanted me to explore things. He wanted me to do the best. And in my life, of course, I'll thank all my teachers who have been there, teaching me all the good things. But I think whatever I'm doing right now, there was nobody who could have helped me when I was young. And they always gave me directions for doing maybe MBBS or engineering, but nobody really supported for the things that I'm doing currently. And it was my father and my mother. And the whole support from them, I think it means a lot to me. And because I think when I see my other friends or the people around me who have been with me when I was a kid, sometimes they complain, like, their parents didn't really support them to pursuing their dream career. And I think that's when I realized I'm the luckiest one, because my parents were there, they supported me throughout. And even now, they never let me, stop myself. I have the best teaching from my mother, which says, like, never give up. Just keep going until you reach to the peak of that thing, what you want to do. And I have always believed in that. And even I told you I'm Dora the Explorer. I always want to explore more and more. Or like, I think there is, for learning, you don't have any age. You learn every single day, and learning never stops. So they're the main two things that I always have in my head when I start something. So one is like never give up, and the second one is learning never stops. So these are the two motivations given by my parents, and thanks to them, all the credit goes to them, who have been there, who have supported me all the life, and who are still there and pushing me to do the greatest things in my life. And I think, yeah, that's it.
I guess that is all for today, and we thank you so much for joining us for this section and being a part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And, thanks for having me. And all credit goes to you for hosting such an amazing, event today. Thank you so much. Have a great day.